Now joined by Brian Brozeski, the head coach of the Norwin Knights girls basketball team, as they look to defend their Class 6A championship in the WPIAL. Brian, congrats on getting back to the postseason and having a very good regular season. The number one seed after you went 13-7, but more impressively, 9-1 in section play. So what did you like about how your team seemingly got better as the season moved along?
Yeah, as the season went on, we faced a little bit of adversity throughout. We hit a little bit of a skid. We had a 3-game losing streak there, but we kept on focusing on the process and realizing that, all we're doing early on in the season and during the season is identifying areas in which we need to improve. So that way, at the end of the year, starting into the playoffs, we're able to play our best basketball.
How did you, and more particularly the girls, balance the expectations when a lot of people probably thought, well, Norwin's the defending champions, they'll be the top team again. When you go through some of those struggles and you have the losing streak, how was that in terms of the mindset of the girls, and how did they work their way through it?
You know what? I'm proud of the girls for focusing more on like their development of the game and their chemistry as a team rather than on the record. Rarely did we ever talk about anything other than just going, quote unquote, that 1-0 in the next game. We were more so focused on, what we need to do to make sure that we're improving with every practice and in every game situation. Because in some of those losses, we showed good improvement. But on the same side of that coin, in some of our wins, we actually took a step backwards. So I was proud of the way the girls that actually had the focus that said, hey, we got to make sure that we're always moving towards the positive direction, no matter what the circumstances are, game or practice.
It certainly feels like a defining game this season was the win at Upper St. Clair, which basically gave you the section title after you're able to take care of business for a couple games after that. When you think back to that win, what stands out?
One of the things that stands out for me is we took one of our weaknesses that we addressed and made it one of our strengths for that game. Our foul shooting. Our foul shooting was something that we struggled with. And so the girls really locked in, and we went 21-24 at that foul line at that time. And that was a significant difference for us because that gave us a good portion of the points that we were, able to kind of leave out there in other games. So that was a learning point for a lot of them too, because they realized, if you keep on trying to address weaknesses that possibly you have, you can turn them into your strengths, but it takes time and it takes persistence.
So it's a 8-team bracket. It's fairly easy to kind of anticipate what the matchups could be. So you get the number one seed, and your section was very well represented. Upper St. Clair gets the number 2 seed. Canon Mac gets number 4. How did that align with your expectations of what it might play out to be?
You know what? Been in this for a long time, not just with basketball, but in the football realm as well. Rarely do I go ahead and try to map out anything other than, what our opponent possibly could be for that next up and coming game. But we know that we had an opportunity possibly to play a team from the other section or the other conference, if you would. And we were focusing all of our efforts in that time more so on, hey, what do we need to do? Because we're still basically 12 days out before we're actually going to step on a competitive court again for a game. So rather than try to hypothesize about who we're going to play and what they could possibly do, what we wanted to try to do is focus more of our energies on things that we know we can do, and that's focus on us and how do we improve.
So you get the worst seeded team in this bracket. That said, it's a team that has a terrific tradition in North Allegheny. You know them very, very well. For many, many years, you're in the same section. Of course, you met in the championship round against them last year. I know different team, different players, different coach, but do you still see some of the same ingredients that has made NA so successful?
Yeah, because they have that history as well. They're a proud high school with a foundation that just stems back years upon years. And so there has been change, there has been turnover. But you got to understand that when you get into the playoffs, everyone's basically starting fresh right now, 0-0. And so, with that being said, the records are the records. It is what it is. But everyone has 2 weeks to get better, 2 weeks to prepare for one opponent. That's a lot of time. You can find a lot out on film to help you prepare for that one game. And so right now, we're just doing our due diligence to go ahead and try to prepare as best we can for what's going to make us better and what's going to prepare us best to go ahead and handle any adjustments that possibly NA throws our way.
Thinking back to the last year or when your team won back-to-back titles about a decade ago, what's the common theme for postseason success for the Knights?
I think the common theme is just staying hungry. not settling with anything other than, getting that next win. And so, things are nice, but the main objective is to win a championship. So, winning the section, that was nice. Getting the 1 seed, that was nice, but that's not the overall goal. And you got to stay hungry to go ahead and accomplish that goal. And so one of the things that we got to make sure that we're doing is not getting complacent and not settling. We got to come into practice with that chip on our shoulder that, we want to go ahead and make sure that we're headed in the right direction and not taking time off.
Well, Brian, congrats on the section title, the number 1 seed, and good luck into the postseason. Hopefully it'll be another lengthy run for the Knights.
Thank you, Sean.